board of directors for the last couple of years have listened and experienced what you experience every day about the gates and the traffic situation on Gartrell Road. And we've had several discussions about what can we do to finally get the attention. And I asked for 200, and it looks like we got 500. So I thank you for that. My AV man up here, I think you can turn that down just a little bit. It's starting to hurt my ears. This is Dave Burnett. Dave Burnett is the chairman of the Facilities and Grounds Committee, and he is a retired civil engineer who has 37 years of planning and constructing highway and roads, and has a great wealth of knowledge, and is going to help me with the presentation today. The agenda that we're going to use, it looks like a lot of Steve Hungerford. I thought that I was going to have another person up here with me today, but I was going to have Dave Gruber, who is the Vice President of the Metro District, but Dave's over in Las Vegas today on a national defense presentation. He will be a part of this activity. This is absolutely a joint effort with the Eagle Bend Metro District and the Heritage Eagle Bend Golf Club Board of Directors. So we're going to start off with a video from our council member, Francois Bergen. When we started down this path, we said there are two ways that we can solve the problem. Either we have the metrics that we need, basically what I would say are the traffic counts. They call them warrants. Dave will explain that a little bit later. But either we would have the data that we need to solve this problem, or we would have to find a political solution. We are going to have to find a political solution. So if you could, Dave, could you bring up Francois, and you will hear that where we are coming from with the support of our council member, Francois Bergen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Francoise Bergen, your Ward 6 Aurora City Council member. I really had hoped that I could be with you, but a previous commitment could not be changed. So I wanted to make this short video to make sure you realize how strongly I support your topic today. Increasing the probability of securing some form of traffic safety device before a tragedy occurs at the intersection of Heritage Parkway and Gartrell Road. I've had several discussions with Steve Hungerford and Dave Gruber and facilitated a meeting with the Aurora Traffic Engineering Department last month. We came away from that meeting with a firm commitment from them to conduct a traffic study later this year. But it may not clearly demonstrate a level that meets the threshold mandated by the U.S. Department of Transportation. The strategy that Steve and Dave will be sharing with you today, in my opinion, is the most effective way to get the attention of my peers on council. We are in the process of developing the 2017 city budget. If you will help by demonstrating your support at our council meeting on September 12th, I believe we will have a better chance of making sure that the funds for such a solution are earmarked. It would be counterproductive and in fact could generate resentment to have many of you stand and send the same message. But a brief message from Steve and Dave, followed by your standing in support, will send a strong message of commitment. I look forward to seeing you at the September 12th City Council meeting. Thank you and have a great day.
Some of the background of where Heritage Eagle Bend stands with the City Council's image as it relates to this from a historical perspective. This is a letter that is dated March 29th this year. It's to another council person from the traffic department. I'm going to read it to you. I hate when people put up spreadsheets on a PowerPoint and expect everybody in the back of the room read them. There's no way you could read this. But in the simplest of terms, the hill that we have to climb to convince the city of the same thing that we are so obviously convinced of is very steep. And they have had various attempts to address our concerns in their perspective. So this is a letter that, again, was written in March. This response is in regard to the intersection of Heritage Parkway and Gartrell Road. The intersection has been studied multiple times prior to 2012, which was after full build-out of the development, accessing the intersection on the minor street, and does not meet any of the necessary conditions for either multi-way stop control or installation of a traffic signal. The original development process also never contemplated a traffic signal at this intersection. The private gated access of Heritage Parkway has been fully built out for a number of years, so we expect the traffic conditions today would not be substantially different than when the intersection was last studied for a traffic signal. There are many neighborhoods in the city that access arterial roadways that are not signalized. This neighborhood just does not generate sufficient side road traffic to warrant the installation of a traffic signal or a four-way stop sign. Special events held at the clubhouse are also an intermittent occurrence that would also not justify signal installation. There is also a tunnel running under Gartrell Road that provides a grade-separated crossing for golf carts and pedestrians. Recognizing the unique nature of the community, staff did develop a recommended alternative that would have involved some modifications to the roadway cross-section of Gartrell in the vicinity of this intersection for traffic calming purposes. This was presented to the HOA board and the Metro District several years ago for their consideration. Unfortunately, to date, the HOA has chosen not to move forward with the recommended modification. And funding has not been identified for these improvements. Attached, please find the concept level drawing the proposed modification. The approximate cost estimate at that time was $150,000. We would be happy to meet with the HOA. Did you bring up, oh, yes, I bring it up. As you heard Francois speak, we did have a meeting with the traffic department and actually all the traffic engineers and also the head person in charge of all of that part of the government back in March. We had the Metro Board and the HOA. And we did get this commitment for a $65,000 study for the situation out here that will be conducted yet this year. And that was a movement on their part. That was a significant movement on their part. Now, Jeff, would you drop the lights a little bit? I think it'd be easier for them to see. This is going to be difficult. I do have hard copies up here. And you can see these after the presentation this afternoon. But what they proposed, this right over here is the main gatehouse coming into the community. This is the east side over here. This is the number 9 hole. This is the driving range. So what they were proposing back at that point was to choke down Gartrell in both directions down to 1 lane. Now I'm going to ask Dave to speak for just a minute because of what the impact of such a move.
Thank you, Steve. Let me begin by saying I've worked with the city of Aurora for probably 20 years. I have a great deal of respect for a lot of the work that they do, but I think on this particular plan there is a fatal flaw that just it amazed me when I saw it. There are 3 factors that influence the ability to make a turn out of either side of Heritage Eagle Bend onto Gartrell, and that's traffic volume, traffic speed, and what we call gap, which is the distance or interval between successive cars. Well, as we know, traffic has gone up substantially over the last 10 years. We can reasonably assume it's going to continue to grow when we look at what's going on in Inspiration. So that the volume of traffic is going to get even worse. Speed does not have that big a factor, but it's currently at 40 miles an hour. Even slowing it to 30 miles an hour wouldn't make it much better, because the important factor is the gap. That's the space that you turn into. And if you take 2 lanes of traffic and put them into 1 lane, I'm sure most of us here today very quickly realized you get half of the gaps, half of the spaces, because you now have twice as many cars in the lane. So that's the fatal flaw with respect to this plan. Traffic calming over the last 10 to 15 years has gotten a lot of press, a lot of effort from cities and counties. Quite frankly, under that term, I've seen very little of it that really works. But with respect to this plan, the fatal flaw is the number of gaps that would be in the traffic.
Now, they also have in this plan a development for left turn lanes here, but again, it does nothing to address the concerns that Dave just spoke to you about. This is where the city of Aurora pulled this off the shelf, as you heard them say in their own words, pre-2012 to a 2016 inquiry. But I don't want to paint a picture that the city of Aurora are villains or not interested in our safety, but I need for you to understand that they too, not only do they have budget concerns, but they have federal and state mandates that they have to recognize. So here is our objective. Remember, I told you that we needed to have a political solution. On September 12th, at the city council meeting, they will be accepting citizens' input for the 2017 budget and business plan. Our goal is to make sure that there is money put in that 2017 plan to address something out here at Heritage Parkway. We are going to fight like crazy on that calming plan that we just showed you. I think that we got the city to agree to take that off the table in our March discussion with them. But we need to be open to what is going to come out of their study that they're going to have out here yet this year. It's the $65,000 study. They truly are, just as Dave is in our case, they are truly the experts that understand what is the features, advantages, and benefits of a traffic light, a roundabout, a four-way stop sign. They understand that. We really don't. We're not here to specify what they have to have. We are here to say you've got to do something at this intersection because we can't live with it. So, here's our strategy. I don't want this number 200 up here anymore. I want 500 people. 500. Everybody's going to go. Raise your hand. Raise them high. I want to count them now. We got to get to 500. We want to go to City Hall. When you leave here this afternoon, there are maps to 15151 East Alameda Drive. It's about a 6-story building that you'll see a picture of, and we'll give you directions how to get there. And this is what we want to do. We want Dave Gruber to speak for about 3 minutes. And we want Dave to talk about the results of the Metro District election and the $500,000 that belong to us that we have put into the game that says we've got $500,000 for you guys to do something with. That's our ante. And you guys did that in the election. And we thank you for that. Then I will speak for 3 minutes, and I will tell them just how worried we are. I'll tell them just how much they're going to have to feel the pain when they come out and talk to us after one of us gets seriously hurt or killed at that intersection. And then I'm going to ask you to stand if you agree with that statement. We don't need to clap, we don't need to cheer, we just need to look 1,000 eyeballs, 1,000 eyeballs on these 10 elected officials that says, we need you to do something before we get hurt. This road cuts our community in half. We can't get across it, we can't get out of it, and somebody's going to get hurt. So, that's ours. Now your assignment. We need for you to invite your neighbors and friends, because there might be one or two of you, just one or two, that have another commitment on the 12th, so you need to be replaced to keep the count at 500, and bring your friends with you, organize the carpools so that you can come down there, and when you need to be content not to speak, and here's why that is. We don't need to all stand up and say the same thing. We don't need to keep them there till midnight saying that same thing. We are professional, we know what we want, we know what we need, and we know how to get it. So we need to be committed on September 12th, be there between 7 and 7:15, and let's go take this fight to City Hall and get something done out there.